Okay. My title is Fire Chief, as well as the Community Emergency Management Coordinator. And what I am is I manage the Community Control Group and the emergency plan for the town of Cobourg.
Tell me a little bit about, if you can, Mike, tell me a little bit about the group and when it was created.
Okay, the Community Control Group is legislated by the province, and it's part of our town emergency plan. And the Community Control Group is made up of town staff. Sometimes we'll bring in outside people, for instance, somebody from the health unit or a county partner, somebody like that that we need for a certain emergency. But generally speaking, the control group is made up of town staff. So mostly managers, but we do have some staffers that are scribes and things like that.
This has been kicked in for a while, this emergency crisis. Tell me a little bit about, I guess basically the first question that people want to know is, how is it going?
Well, it's going quite well here in the town of Cobourg. We've been monitoring this for probably a month and a half, watching it come, but we actually got some senior staffers together on March 11th was our first meeting that we had as a senior staff group, and then the following week we actually got the control group together, and we are now meeting, the control group is now meeting every day, and we do that virtually so that we keep distance. So we're using an online app, it's called Zoom, so we Zoom into the meetings. Everybody gives their input. We're looking at new things that we got to be dealing with, new trends that are coming down. We assign things to people, and we follow through and get it done.
Is it, if I'm correct, and by all means correct me if I'm wrong, but is it something like you guys meet and you learn or get information from the province, who gets information like from the feds, sort of you can see it coming down and then it's deciphered here how to, what actions to take?
In some instances, yes. Sometimes the province will say you're going to be doing this, and but generally speaking, we're looking after the town of Cobourg. So first of all, we're looking after our staff, and so we're looking at staff, how they're working, if they can work from home, changing their work hours, splitting shifts so that some people are working this week, others are working the next week. We're doing all kinds of things like that. We look at different things like the playgrounds, for instance. We've actually closed the play structures in the parks so that people aren't touching them. You can still go and walk in the park, that's not an issue, but we look at things like that, and then we'll assign that to the park staff, and they'll go and deal with signing the play structures. So those are the kinds of things that we look at.
One of the greatest fears that everybody has is obviously this getting worse, which it most likely will in the beginning, or not in the beginning, we're not in the beginning stages, but it will likely get worse before it gets better. Enough people have talked about how they can do their part to make it better. Is it frustrating when you see people in groups congregating? Is it frustrating? It affects everybody, but it's just it must be maddening.
It is frustrating when you drive down the street and see groups of teenagers all congregating, standing around having a chat or about something. This isn't going to get better unless we all do our part. Everything we're seeing is showing that this is going to spike in the next week or two here in Ontario. If people don't take this serious, this spike is going to continue to happen every couple of weeks, and we're not going to get over it. So we need to take some short-term pain, self-isolate, stay home, stay safe, and we'll, as they say, flatten the curve. I hate to use a cliche, but we really do have to flatten that curve and move on. So.
It's, people can do their part. It's something easy. That's what I was going to say. I believe, and when I look at it, we always have to look at the half full rather than the half empty, or than the empty. But I think people should realize what they have in these times. So yes, we're going through a time that's never happened in history. But on the other side of it, days are shining. There's sunny days out there, and people can get out and still walk. Just be with people that are isolated with you, if you can reiterate, if that's the correct analogy.
Absolutely. You know, you're you're living in your home with your spouse or your son or your daughter, mother, father, you're living in a house with somebody. If you just go outside and walk with them, don't invite the neighbors for a walk. Don't invite the neighbors over for a card game. Stay isolated in your own little cell, and don't shake hands. Give the social distancing its due. It works. Science has proven it works. Just stay in your own little cell.
Common sense goes a long way with this.
Common sense should go a long way with this. Our problem is there's a lot of people that are not using common sense right now. Enough is enough. We've got to stop this.
Last thing, if I can touch on, how are the men and women at the fire hall doing?
Remarkably, our staff are doing really well. We have adjusted our responses a little bit through our dispatch. We haven't had any contact with a patient that's positive screened. Our staff are very upbeat about this. We're taking precautions every day. Even in our station, we're self-isolating within the station. So I'm not one that goes out on calls. So we've isolated the administration side of the building from the response side of the building. And I don't travel over into their side, and they don't travel over into the administration side. So we're doing our part within our own building. So if we can do it here and keep a business running, you can certainly do it at home.